I got some really great videos coming up, but today, this is just live, obviously. I'm not doing anything special. To me, every day is special, actually, that I'm living here. And I just kind of created, my best life for me. And I'm about to make my morning breakfast, guys. I had my hydrogen water. Sorry, I didn't record that, but I recorded it before. You guys know what it's like to drink the hydrogen water. And sorry about the terrible lighting, and everything's terrible here as far as that, because there's no staging or nothing. I'm just about to make my normal breakfast. So if you guys have any questions, you can write them down below, and otherwise I'm just going to get started. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So I'm always picking up the most wonderful produce in Japan. It's honestly really beautiful. I'm learning a lot about how they treat soils here, and the way you treat your soil really matters, actually, as far as the quality of your food. And I'm just going to show you what I can find here, so that I can just make things work, right? I'm just literally, you have to grab the produce that you grab where you're at, and I just do the best I can here. All right, so I'll show you here in a second. All right, so here's some of the stuff that I'm putting in my smoothie today. All right, so I found cucumbers, some carrots. This is organic natto. The Japanese make the best natto in the world. It's a fermented bean. Again, no, I'm not giving you any medical advice or making any medical claims. But this stuff, the research, from being anti-cancer, having almost as much protein as beef, the health benefits, super good for your gut, unbelievable stuff. I'm going to put some prunes in here today. I'm actually creating a little bit of a high iron, plant-based smoothie, because I'm going to be sharing this with somebody who's apparently been having some issues with their iron in their blood. So we're going to start with that. Now, I don't have my normal powders that I love, my purium powder. I just love that stuff. And actually, if you guys want to do it, if you're in the US, you know where to get it. iShopPurium.com. I like the one that's called Power Shake. And if you want a huge discount, they give you a big one if you use the code UPRISING144K. And it helps support the channel a little bit. So that's always great. So this is what I was able to find in Japan. This is just chlorella. Chlorella, not only good minerals, good iron content, good protein. Chlorella is one of the few foods known to man that you could literally just survive eating only chlorella and still stay relatively healthy. So this is the best that I could find. Some Japanese chlorella. So 100% just chlorella. So I'm going to use this temporarily until I can get some of my purium powder shipped over here. The second one, cacao, 100% organic, just chocolate, just cacao. No sugar, no nothing, organic. Because again, I'm trying to get some iron here for the lady I'm going to be sharing this with. And also, it's good for stem cells. I don't know if you guys seen the latest research. And hydrogen appears to be good for stem cells too. Again, I'm not making any claims, but I will show you guys the scientific data later. So I'm putting some of this raw cacao. So good for you. I believe it's got other health benefits too. But that's going to be the first stuff that I'm going to put in there now. And obviously, guys, this is going to be a long video because this is just, well, this is my morning routine. All right. The thing I'm having a lot of trouble finding in Japan is rich leafy greens. Oh, this is not open. Hold on. Let me grab a different one. Because I knew I had opened this one. And of course, it has to taste good, right? I mean, it's got to taste good. So I found these. And honestly, I don't even know what they are. All I know is that they're vegetables. And that's what I do. I just try to get vegetables in me, guys, as much as possible. A lot of fiber, a lot of minerals in these vegetables. Hard to imagine the vegetables, well, would not be very good for you. So, but I always have to like taste them and make sure that they don't kind of go weird in the smoothie. So I'm going to get those in there. Now the rich leafy greens that I was able to find are these. I don't actually know what these are either, because everything's in Japanese. So I just have to kind of guess. I kind of go off what they look like. I wish I could find spinach, but I have not been able to find spinach. But let's go ahead and put some of this in here. All right, that looks like a pretty decent amount, actually, but I think I'm going to throw in more. I'm going to throw in more of this guy. Me personally, I just eyeball everything, you know, guys. And like I said, if you have any questions, literally about anything, we could talk health, we could talk politics, we could talk spirituality if you want. We could just talk about Japan. We could talk about hot springs. I'll tell you one thing, the water pressure in Japan is unbelievable. It's making a mess, actually. Being everything wet. I found out why their water pressure is so good, though, too. I've noticed this pattern everywhere in Japan that I go. The water pressure is unbelievable, and I'm like, why is it so good? Apparently, they're literally, again, #1 in the world. The Japanese are so, like, into the details. The way that they do all their water systems and their pipes and not leaking or even dripping, where pretty much anywhere in the world they always have leaky pipes. And the Japanese, like, virtually have no leaky pipes, and it makes the water pressure so flipping good. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm washing the produce. Hopefully you guys can... I'm trying to show you how I do this, so... I know you're probably not going to have the best view here once in a while, but... I guess I could put the camera back farther. Would that help? Maybe that would be better. There we go. So yeah, you know, the way that I see it is wherever you live in the world, you just have to adapt. And you got to look for the vegetables and the food that's, you know, that's there. I'm trying to spin the water out of this thing, to be honest. It's so heavy. There we go. So I always want to get all the water off of them. I want to wash off the bad stuff, but I think I might have too many greens in this thing. I noticed that when I have too many greens, woohoo, there we go. When I get too much in there, it doesn't spin very good. Look at that. Okay, that was a lot of water. Okay, so this is how we do it here. Let's see if you guys can see this. Nope, that's not going to be a good view. Okay, let's put the greens in there. So this is what I do. Put the greens first after my powders. And then I push them down in there really hard. You can't do this with your average blender. It would probably burn it up. This is a good blender. Okay, so we start with that. All right. Next, put some supplements. All right, I gotta tell you too, the Japanese have this really, really strict, intense recycling system. It's pretty wild. Okay, ginger. I absolutely love ginger. If you ever want to read the benefits of ginger, they're extensive. Ginger's so good for you. Numerous ways. You're also going to learn that a lot of this stuff is actually very anti-parasitic. I call this the anti-parasitic diet also. Because you can literally Google it. I bet you could Google, somebody can do it right now if you want. Literally Google ginger right now and just Google something like, is ginger anti-parasitic? You'll probably find something very interesting. This is how much I'm going to put in there. I always like to shave off the bad parts. I like to keep as much of the skin as possible though, but only the one that looks good. I don't like something that looks a little sketchy to me. And of course, pretty important to try to get root vegetables that are organic. Japan is really big on trying to use very little pesticides to no pesticides and amazing farming practices that are care for the soil. They're literally, I've been learning, they're absolute master farmers and they just have amazing quality of food. I feel sad in America that, you know, we don't have the best, and yes, yet America should, in my opinion, have the best. Okay, let me show you a very interesting product before everybody goes away, and that's this one. I'm going to show you how to prepare it. Give me 1 second. Let me put the ginger away. Isn't that pretty? Let's see. Okay, let's prepare our natto. Because you don't just open it. What you do, first you open it. The garbage that's in there, this is like a soy sauce with a bunch of crap in it. Throw that away. I just want the raw material. I'm always about the raw material, just the food. I don't like to add stuff. Anything that has multiple ingredients in it, salad dressings from the store, processed food, I don't like. Everything's simple ingredients with me. This is how you prepare it. You actually activate it by stirring it. They did a scientific study in Japan and discovered that you basically need to stir it 100 times. And you can actually see it transform. Like I'm already seeing it before my eyes. It starts getting foamy and it starts getting kind of slimy and foamy. This fermented bean is only from Japan. Nobody else in the world, I mean, this has been in their culture for so long. Personally, I think it's part of what's kept the Japanese living so long in an amazing health. There's so many studies. This literally might be the #1 superfood of all time. The way that it appears to be highly anti-cancerous. It actually acts as a natural statin, so it actually thins your blood a little bit, which is actually a good thing. You want your blood to be nice and thin and flow through the veins and get, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see how foamy it's gotten and transformed. The lighting's terrible here, but all right, so I activate it and I throw it in my smoothie. Now I put it in my smoothie, which nobody does, because now I don't mind the flavor. I like it, but it's hard for me to eat it like on the regular, and I want to eat it on the regular. It's filled with minerals and vitamins, you know, proteins, all sorts of good stuff, and fiber, of course. It's just amazing. And a lot of people don't like the flavor. It took me about 4 years to get used to it, actually. But then once you get used to it, you just kind of love it. Just, you know, acquired taste, kind of like beer. One of those things. Okay, next. I'm going to throw, you know what I'm going to do? I don't have a lot of prunes left in here. The prunes give it a nice little like sweet taste. So let's go and get some prunes. And they also have good iron and they're good for your GI system. You want to have really, really good bowel movements. That's super important for your health, to get all that crap out of you, all those toxins out of you. And by the way, guys, I'm always getting all these emails with questions. If you guys have questions, this is the time. This is the time to ask questions. Now, I don't like to waste everything that's in here. So I'm going to try to get a spatula. So that's another thing. Well, this is just me and my personality. I don't like to be wasteful at all. And that's one pattern that I've seen about the Japanese too. Apparently, they're super into efficiency and they don't like to be wasteful. They have a really cute word. You should see the little kids when they eat here in Japan. It's so cute. They're like, eat their rice. And then they say something like, Atsumare, which is basically gather everything together. Kind of like gathering the people, gathering the troops. Like gather up all the rice and finish the rice so that you don't even waste one grain of rice. I think it's a beautiful thing that they teach kids, actually, in Japan, to be grateful, you know, for any food that they get. A lot of people forget that the Japanese have gone through some crazy poverty and famines throughout their history, where people, you know, a lot of starving, so they're very grateful for anything they get. Boy, I got to turn down this water because I'm telling you, the water pressure is crazy here. So, all right, guys. Yeah, I really enjoy living here in Japan because people are peaceful. They're really kind. There's like no violence. I don't have to really like watch my back here the way I did in the US. And the main reason I'm here is the magic of water. I didn't realize their food would, I mean, I knew they had good food, but I didn't realize that they're so rich in minerals. Here's another one. Walnuts. I always like to put nuts in my smoothies. Highly anti-cancerous. I usually like to soak them in water, but I haven't had a lot of room in the fridge lately. So I guess I'll just use them all up. But it's been really hard to find nuts in Japan, actually, like the ones that I really want. But again, you adapt. You do what you can. You do what you can. Hopefully you can see the smoothie. Maybe I should bring the camera a little closer. You guys can see this boring smoothie video I'm making. I make these every morning, guys. All right, let's show you what else I'm throwing in here. Found some fruit. This one's been really neat. I always wanted to have avocados. I found this place that sells frozen avocado already cut up for me. So that's been kind of nice. Let's make sure I don't get any ice in there. Is that it? Pretty much empty. Yep, that was it. I think I got another bag. That's also more fats. I like having fats in my smoothie from the nuts, the seeds, the avocados, even the natto, because it really helps also with absorption of certain nutrients. Look what else I found. I found mangoes. GK says, talking about prune being good for GI, what are the thoughts about colon irrigation hydrotherapy benefits? Okay, am I a believer in that? Yes, I've done it, and I actually think it's pretty amazing stuff. The only problem is the kind of water that hydrocolon therapists might use. And there's also two types of systems. There's what's called an open system and a closed system. You do not want to do a closed system colon irrigation. You want to do an open system for sure, in my opinion, because everything's my opinion. Everything stated in this video is my opinion. By the way, I'm putting some pineapple in here because I did find it. It helps the smoothies taste really great, but they also have a special enzyme there's a special enzyme in the natto and in pineapple, in my opinion, though I have actually read some scientific data on it, that is really good at a certain type of thing that happens in your blood, which I can't talk about because you know how we are and don't have free speech anymore. But it's about this little kind of like flu cold that you get and how it causes issues in the blood. So those are pretty good for that, in my opinion. Natto has natto kinase or natto kinase as they call it. And yeah, that's pretty good stuff. Okay, next, let's put some of these cucumbers. You guys seen the pattern of how much? Oh, so anyway, I was telling about the open system, closed system, about answering the question about colon hydrotherapy. The other issue is the water that they use. Guys, there's people who just use like, oh, I just run it through a regular filter. That's not good enough, in my opinion, for colon hydrotherapy. Because you're bypassing the liver. So you need really clean water, in my personal opinion. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, next. Can you recommend a substitution for the fermented mixture? You said it's only available in Japan. I'm in California. Love everything you are using in your vitamin. Are you talking about the natto? Now remember, it doesn't have to be exactly how I'm making it. To be honest, I've had better recipes. It's just I'm limited on what I find here. And cucumbers, hey, I mean, this is literally what I had to work with. So I've been buying cucumbers, and hey, they're really good for you. And there's a lot of water, a lot of fiber, a lot of minerals, a lot of antioxidants, a lot of phytonutrients in a lot of this stuff. So were you talking about the natto? And then somebody else says, I have an Aqua True water purifier. Well, look, it doesn't really matter so much the brand. There's three basic ways to filter water. It's either a carbon filter, reverse osmosis filter, or distillation. So you have to tell me what your Aqua True is. I think you guys know that I'm a fan of distilling water because, well, I've shown, watch my video 388. If you have questions about water, watch my video 388. It's a whole, it goes over all that. So there we go. Put a few cucumbers in there. And then if you're talking about substitution, was it Phyllis? If you're talking about a substitution for natto, there is no substitution for natto, but you can find it. You can find natto in the US for sure. You just have to go to, I'm putting some raisins in here again for good fiber, iron, and they're just good for you, and they have a really wonderful sweet taste to them. Normally I would soak them in water too. This is not my kitchen, so I'm doing the best I can. Let's see, Phyllis says, yes, fermented mixture you stirred 100 times. Oh yes, that's natto. You can totally find it in California. They actually, you'll find it either in a Japanese food store, Korean food store, Chinese food store. You know, you can find them in those different types of stores. All right, next, what do we got here? What are we working with here? Let's go with their carrots. Carrots is another one that I really like. I'll tell you, they're way more expensive here than they were in the US. I used to get these giant bags of organic carrots. Very high in a lot of interesting properties, carrots. In my opinion, they're anti-cancerous, also anti-parasitic. Obviously, they have good fiber, good minerals, and, you know, beta-carotene, all this kind of stuff. But you'd be surprised the high content of antioxidants in carrots, very high. And I just like them. And they're, you know, they're a vegetable, but yet they're kind of sweet, and they just bring a good taste to the smoothie. Somebody says, let's see, it's ADK Detail. Buddy puts the whole supermarket into smoothies. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I kind of do, you know, you should see. I mean, I just go into the Japanese supermarket, and I gotta tell you, it's hard to read the labels. I don't know how to read in Japanese very good. And once in a while, I'll ask somebody to help me, but for the most part, it's so cool, honestly. The way that farmers are actually treated and honored in Japan, I think it's beautiful. I mean, heck, they're growing our food, and it ain't easy work. And you know what they do? It's so amazing. They actually take these like packages. They have this whole special shelf with all this produce, and then they have pictures of the farmers. They have information about their farmland, how they grow the food. It's really beautiful, actually. I think it's so cool that they honor their farmers the way that they do. And I love that the farmers, the way that they treat the soil, love the soil, and just so much respect. That's what you know what? That's another thing that I really like about Japan, the culture, is just the respect that they have towards things. And I love that, because to me, respect is love, you know? So I wish that our government would respect the people more, you know, love the people. It's almost like they despise the people. Now, I will say to you that in my opinion, bananas are the thing that really, really helps the smoothie taste good. Because bananas, you know what, this would be kind of funny. I hate to do this, but I just think it'd be funny because you know we're super close to an election thing. Can everybody type in the first letter of who they're voting for? They don't have to type in the whole word. I'm just curious. I'm taking a poll here. The people who listen to my videos, who they're voting for. Just put the first letter in, and let's see let's see what kind of viewers watch a Japanese smoothie video here. I feel kind of silly, but that might be kind of fun. Let's see who responds to that. All right, you should see their GK puts a T. Mr. T. Okay, their dishwashers are kind of funny here too. They're really, everything's small in Japan, but you get used to it. You should see the car I'm driving. It's actually hilarious, but it's literally perfect for Japan. Yesterday I went out to eat, and I literally wouldn't have been able to park if it wasn't for the car being so small. It's hilarious. Okay, so let me show you a few other interesting things that I do. This is pretty much full. I kind of have a little bit of space available. Sometimes when I have a little space available, I'll just throw in a little extra something. Let's throw in, you know what I'm going to throw in? Let's throw in this guy. Oh no. Oh, okay, good. I thought I was going to be out of greens here. Let's try throwing in some more greens. I love having as much vegetables as I possibly can in this smoothie, because in my opinion, people don't consume enough vegetables. Japanese are really big on vegetables, and they eat a lot of them. A lot of vegetables are consumed in Japan. I'm a big believer in them. I know some people are like, no vegetables. You should only eat meat. Very little vegetables. Or just fruit. Everybody has their opinions. I'm going to go with the tried and true Japanese long lifestyle, and of course a lot of scientific data about vegetables. And I'm going to throw more in here. Let's see how much more you can fit in this thing. What do you think? I'm pushing down on this thing, and I think that's all I can fit. All right, now I'm going to show you another secret. A lot of people may disagree, but there's actually some very interesting scientific evidence that appears to be anti-cancerous, full of protein, full of minerals, a lot of good things about it, and especially iron content, because I told you I'm sharing this with somebody who is deficient in iron. So that's why I'm adding this. Normally I don't add this. And this is organic soy milk from Japan. Soy is a bean. So it's just basically, it's like bean milk. If you look at the science of beans, there's been a lot of bad data about soy in America. The Japanese have actually done studies where they actually discovered something new about the body that flipped the scientific findings on their head. We actually have more than one receptor that actually affects the way that soy affects the body. People don't know that Japanese, Yeah, they live longer than anybody of any industrialized nation in the world. And the crazy thing is, they consume more soy than anybody in the world. So that must tell you something. Now this is where we're gonna do a hydrogen. Oh, maybe I got it pointed the wrong way. It's gonna be a hydrogen smoothie on top of everything. Okay, let's put some of the hydrogen water in there. Why the hydrogen water? Well, again, the Japanese did this really wild study. I was actually able to see it, where they test the antioxidative power of certain fruits and vegetables, and then they would soak them in the hydrogen water and retest them. The antioxidative power of these fruits and vegetables just went through the roof. I believe personally, it's just my own part of my personal protocol, that the hydrogen is actually enhancing the fruits and vegetables to levels, to doing things that the average person just doesn't understand. And, you know, until people actually do research on it, we won't know for sure, but it doesn't hurt anything. And that data to me of how it enhanced the antioxidants, because hydrogen has a lot to do with fruits and vegetables, by the way, even the way it affects the soils. And I believe it goes into the fruits and vegetables, which they were able to measure. So it's kind of proof right there. And it's just absolutely wild what happens to the food. So it's soaking into them right now. And then the last thing we do, oh no, did I not plug it in? What, really? Okay, hold on a second, guys. The plug-in is on the other side. You're gonna have to give me 1 second, hold on. Actually, maybe 5 seconds. Okay, I guess I didn't turn on the switch. Okay, everything in Japan has kill switches. It's to preserve electricity and to save your components from damage. Okay, now, let me grab my cup. Let's taste it. Let's do the taste test. Make sure that it actually tastes pretty good. Because who knows, sometimes they don't turn out so good. Or let's see if the blender gets stuck and burns out, right? I put a lot of stuff in there. Well, it didn't get stuck, looks good. Almost done. Since I don't see too many questions, I'm gonna let you guys go here in a second. But first, let me do this taste test. Let's see how it turned out. I put a lot of, it always tastes different every day. You just never know what it's gonna taste like. So let's see here. And this is my breakfast after consuming the hydrogen water. And this is all I'm gonna have for breakfast. And then of course, maybe a little bit for lunch. Okay, that tastes pretty good today. I put a lot of greens in that one today. A little chunky, maybe I need to blend it a tiny bit more. Just a little bit. Well, that should be enough, guys. The other thing I am adding right now, I guess I'll go grab it. I'll show you what I'm adding to it. I usually like to add vitamin D to it. I don't have that one with me. I have a different vitamin D that doesn't go well with it, so I'm going to take it a different way because I'm in Japan. But ionic boron, you should see the data on this. Amazing for hormones. Testosterone. It really helps with basically testosterone and estrogen in very healthy ways. And all it is a mineral, but there's really good scientific data. I did a whole video on it that you guys could actually check out if you wanted to. And the video showed the actual scientific study, and that's pretty remarkable. And really good for your muscles and your bones. In fact, I broke my bone, I broke my foot, and doctor told me it'll be 3 months before I could really heal. I just did it in 1 month, actually about 3.5 weeks. So about triple the speed of what I was told. And of course I attribute it to the hydrogen, the nutritional smoothies, and the hot springs that I've been going to. Much better. All right, guys, so unless you have any last questions, I'm going to let you guys go. Doesn't look like anybody really does, actually. I'm going to turn on my distiller again. It was making too much noise, so I shut it off here. If you want to see what I'm doing with my water here, actually, I could show you. Because I don't have all the equipment that I get in the US. It's starting to get it shipped over here. I'm using, this is called the Alexa Pure, just to do the initial water filtration. And then I put the filtered water in this not so awesome distiller. This one's not a very good one, but it's the best that I could get my hands on in Japan for now. And then I take it out of here as fast as I can. And if you noticed, I put all my distilled water here. My clean water. That's what I use for my smoothies, for my hydrogen, everything else. Well, like I said, it doesn't appear you guys have too many questions, so I am going to let you go. Because after I have this smoothie, guess where I'm going? Anybody want to guess? I'm literally going to head over to some hot springs, and I'm going to soak in the springs, a really hot one. And then after I'm super hot and very sweaty, I'm going to jump in a cold one, do some meditation in there, and just enjoy my day. Then I'm going to go for a bike ride. I'm going to go visit a lady, actually. The one with the low iron deficiencies, but also another lady who's going to be there who is almost 100 years old, guys. She's like 98 years old. She actually uses the hydrogen machine, and she's been just, I can't believe how good a health she is for somebody who's almost 100. So that's pretty impressive. And yeah, GK says, you don't need to keep water in the fridge? No. How long it can stay okay in room temperature? So this is what's interesting that I've learned. One, water lasts longer the more pure that it is. Distilled water actually lasts the longest. It'll stay good here for months, though I tend to go through all this. I'll go through all this water. Geez, I'll go through this water within, I don't know, 2 days? Something like that. I'm constantly having to make it. But no, it definitely doesn't need to be in the fridge. I don't know what would make you think that. The important part is that I seal it, meaning I have to have lids on all of it. I don't want to expose to open air much. In the process of distilling, yeah, it's going to be open a little bit. But yeah, you definitely want your clean water. There's too many crazy chemicals and craziness in our water these days. Even bacterias and viruses and parasites and the craziest stuff in our water. Yeah, this smoothie tasted pretty good today. I enjoyed it. All right, guys. Any last questions? Or I guess I'm going to drink the smoothie anyway, so I could sit with you guys if you want me to sit with you for a little while. Yeah, there's certain things that are very difficult to get in Japan, which kind of sucks, and there's good stuff too. Do you add minerals? I did add a little bit to this right now. Normally I do. If you look at my older videos when I'm in the US, I add minerals to my smoothies, and I'm a big fan of that. I just haven't had access to them here. But I have discovered that the food here is much more mineral rich because of the way they treat their soil. And I eat a lot of mineral rich stuff here, you know, but yes, I am a fan of adding minerals to my smoothies. To the distilled water, to me, it doesn't matter. I used to here and there, but not a lot. But that's just me. I don't put a lot of my minerals in my water. I put them mostly in my food. And there's research now showing that it's more important for it to be paired with fiber and basically get it from your food. The fiber actually helps you absorb the minerals way better. And then as the distiller's running, I will literally, well, I guess you guys can see what I do if you want. This is my routines are always changing depending on what I have available to me, but I don't like it sitting in there too long. So I'll literally get some while it's being made. And then I'll go back to collecting and I'll seal up these right away. And so that's how I do it. I just have my collection of jars here with my super clean water. Okay, guys, any other last questions? this is your chance, because I'm not always available. I try to make myself available to you guys, especially anybody suffering with medical issues, because I know how terrible that is. But beyond that, it's hard to call everybody. Oh yeah, that tastes good. You know, you get used to these smoothies too. I would have told you that everybody likes them, that I've had try them, and that is actually mostly true. But recently, one person wasn't like totally crazy about it. But for the most part, 99% of the people have always liked it. Think Eating says, do you have a protocol list of the items you use and where to order them and your code? Well, yeah, if you go to my videos, I have it in the, what is it, the description area of the video, not the comment section, but the description area. Like the purium powder, and if you look at my older videos from the US, that's where I have all my really good stuff. I have the purium powder, the minerals, those are pretty, and the vitamin D. Those are the only real 3 things that are really needed, and I've proven it with my blood work that that's kind of all you need. Unless you want the hydrogen machine or the blender. And that's about it. I don't promote a lot of stuff because I'm not trying to like sell a bunch of products like a lot of other YouTubers. I basically just share what I personally use and anything that I believe in, you know, and I only believe in the stuff that I obviously use. So that's pretty much it. So, and the code is always pretty much Uprising 144K. I think I have a discount for, what is it, the distiller too? Yeah, so, yeah guys, any other last questions, anybody? I guess I could just keep drinking this if you guys want to keep hanging out. You know what? I'm going to move the camera and have a seat since it seems like you do kind of still have a few questions. Give me 1 second. Actually, no, I mean, I guess I could let you guys go. I don't think, well, here, if anybody has any last questions, I'm going to give you guys out another 10, 20 seconds, and if nobody has any, I'll let you go. If people still have them, I'll stick around and answer. Okay. Shit. I'm going to take my apron off because I only like to use it when I'm making my smoothie so I don't get a mess. Put on a little sweater. It's not super chilly here today, but a little. I noticed that the Japanese also like to have the windows open all the time, which I also like to do. And all the windows open, get a nice breeze, keep the air clean. They're really big on the way that the air moves through the house. It's really kind of interesting, actually. And then somebody said, let's see here. Somebody said, any earthquakes or typhoons where you are? No. I think, actually, wait, I take that back. They did have, I think, one earthquake. Actually, you know what? Let me go grab my smoothie. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Any earthquakes, typhoons? No. Nothing really. But I think there was an earthquake, but I didn't even notice. So, your thoughts about elections? What Japanese think about this? Oh man, that's crazy actually. The media here, in my personal opinion, it's horrible. They have full control of the media here in Japan, and they don't really have a lot of information over the internet like you can gather in the US. So basically, I think they own Japan, and so a lot of people think very negatively of certain candidates. I'll just put it that way. I'm sure you guys can probably guess, but it's been absolutely wild. the things I've seen here in regards to that. So, but you know, you got to be so careful these days. You say the wrong thing on the internet, and they shut you down because you're talking about a certain candidate or something. But yeah, not a lot of earthquakes here right now. The weather's been perfect. I have a really great video. I have to work on it a little bit, even though I don't know how to edit videos, but I need to get it all I do is take little clips, and I don't know how to edit, but I just know how to splice them together. And I'm going to throw it out on the internet. Guys, it was a great video. I mean, driving around Japan, going to hot springs, cooking food with hot spring steam and water, which has always been a dream of mine. It's actually been like my bucket list. I've always wanted to do it. Finally did it. Did the food taste different? It was unbelievable. And apparently it's like super healthy for you and super minerally rich. And the flavors were out of this world. It was the best seafood I've ever had. It was so good. So that was kind of fun. And so, yeah, so it's been really great. I'm really enjoying life here, and I think, yeah, I don't plan on going back to the US. This is where I want to live. I really like it here. I like the peacefulness. I like a lot of the things here, but especially, you know, the real main reason, like I would go anywhere pretty much for cleanliness. The Japanese are super clean, and I would go anywhere for the water. And they have really good water here, and the hot springs is the main thing. So that's why as soon as I'm done here, go to the hot springs, ride a bike. And actually, you know what? I like to inhale my hydrogen too while I drink my smoothie. And I'll go to the hot springs and take a plunge, soak in there for quite a while. Actual clean water. You know, there's a lot of evidence now that is showing that there's so many chemicals in the water, like in America, for example, that literally when you're showering, they're connecting roughly 70% of all breast cancer, which is, I think, nuts, and it's a pretty high number. That's pretty wild. To taking basically hot showers in the US, because the hot water opens up your, you know, your pores, and you got it going right on your chest, you know, and not to mention the microplastics. It's another one that really affects your health. Another reason I like to distill the water is to get those microplastics out of there. So yada yada yada, you know. Somebody said ADK detail. I'm trying to convince my mother that canola and vegetable oil are toxic. Oh, they're so bad. Are you kidding? There's no need to try to convince. It's clear as day. There's so much evidence nowadays. And I'm trying to get this thing situated here. I feel like I got to move my chair, otherwise I'm in front of the camera here. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence. I'm really against heated oils. I have been for a long time, and now scientists finally figured out that it's worse than processed sugar, if you can believe that. It's horrible. I used to have really bad acne. No dermatologist, nobody could fix it. I got off the heated oils. Of course, I started drinking clean hydrogen water too, but I believe it was the heated oils cleared my skin right up. It was unbelievable. Never could figure that out. It took forever to figure that one out. You should be able to find a lot of scientific evidence to get her off the oil, any oil really, when you heat it. Even if it's coconut oil, even if it's, you know, olive oil, doesn't matter. When you heat it, it changes it. And the seed oils are especially bad. Fried food, I know it tastes so good, but stir-fried, pan-fried, deep-fried, all the fried food, not good. Water is the magic, guys. That's why you steam your food, boil your food. The Japanese do a lot of that. They cook in water a lot. GK says, how do Japanese protect from 5G and EMF? It's actually really easy. Hydrogen. Hydrogen appears to protect from basically radiation. And it's not just, you can watch my video number 8, I think it is. But basically, hydrogen appears to protect from so many things. That's why I don't have to worry about it anymore. I just use my hydrogen regularly, but also, not a lot of data is out about this right now, but I already feel pretty confident about it. Proper levels of vitamin D. The reason I say that too is because there is evidence. I'll tell you what they discovered. A lot of times when I find these discoveries, they just make sense for a whole lot of other stuff. And basically it would be, if you were to be in something traumatic, like a car accident, or even if you're going through surgery and they cut you or something, your vitamin D levels drop by half within 50 seconds. This information is coming from the #1 vitamin D specialist in the world that runs a hospital, and he's been doing all this research on vitamin D. And so he was also able to accelerate the healing. I think that's how I did my foot. I got the proper vitamin D levels, I got the hydrogen, I did my hot springs, gained all my nutrients. I mean, within 3.5 weeks, doctor's blown away. He's like, this shouldn't have healed that fast. How in the world are you doing this? You know, it's supposed to take 3 months. So, and thank God, because I hated having a broken foot. It was so frustrating, so painful to walk. It really kind of sucked. So anyway, so yeah, that's simple. All right, guys, any last questions before I get going? By the way, I like inhaling the hydrogen while I eat, if possible, to help regulate the pH of the blood. It actually also helps with the absorption of nutrients, in my opinion, and any negative effects from eating food. A lot of people don't know this, but, excuse me, with every meal you eat, you age. So it's very anti-aging to fight it with antioxidants and, in my opinion, the hydrogen. And you know, it's not like I want to live forever, to be quite honest. I just want to feel good while I'm alive. Hopefully I'll have a long life, and that would be a blessing, but you got to feel good while you're alive. Otherwise, life is miserable. It's like hell, actually. So, been there, done that. Don't want to do that anymore. All right. Last questions, guys. I am really going to let you go this time, unless anybody has anything final. I don't see anything, so... Okay. Let's see here. What am I trying to do here? The phone has all these new options. Don't know what's going on now. What did I do? Okay, guys. I'll see you later. It's weird, all these new options. Okay. No questions. Till next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the